Hi there. Today is Sunday, March 12th, 2023. Tomorrow is Monday. So I took a bath and I'm going to hit the sack soon, sooner than other days. But before I go to sleep, as I promised, as I promised to myself, I would like to read one English article for today. And the reason I am doing that is to study English, to stay in shape, to keep up the good work and honing on my English pronunciation. Most of the articles that I read from the internet, except like PDF files, they are all easy to read. There are not many words that I cannot understand. So this article should be easier. For the past several days, we covered the Australian beer market. So let's find out why the Australian beer is so damn expensive. This article is from 9news.com.au, Australia. So here we go. The reason why beer is so expensive in Australia by Daniel Jeffrey 4 weeks ago. Oh, by the way, I am lying down on my room with some pillow on my back. In Korea, you just sleep on the floor. Aussie favorite beer Powers is set to flow in pubs again after a decades-long hiatus. Decades-long hiatus. That's a good term. A decades-long hiatus. If you ever thought the cost of your favorite beers has increased recently, you are not wrong. As with many common products, alcoholic drinks have gone up in price as inflation and the cost of living have grown. Inflation and the cost of living have grown. While the rising price of products required to brew and package beer, such as barley and aluminum, is behind some of the price spikes, there is another reason for the steep price of a schooner in Australia: tax. Barley and aluminum. Interesting. Australia has some of the highest rates of beer tax in the world. AP photo, Nam Wai Ha. Sounds like a Korean guy, Nam Wai Ha. Ha is a Korean name, family name. How much does Australia tax beer? According to the Brewers Association of Australia, only 3 countries in the world have a higher beer excise than we do. Wow, excise. Beer excise. Excise means cutting something, right? Excise. Let's find out what the excise is. Norway comes in at number 1, followed by Japan, then Finland. I've been to Norway, and the Norwegian beer is, well, damn expensive. 예전에 뭐 안 먹을래? 네 사갖고 와. 어? 예전아, 우유. Tax levied on the manufacturer or sale of a product within a country. Excise. Really? I thought I knew this word, but I was wrong, man.
Excise.
Excise.
Excise. Excise.
Excise. Yeah, here. I was not completely wrong. Cut out, cut off, remove, impose an excise tax. Yeah, cut out. Excise. Excise tax is any duty on manufactured goods that is levied at the moment of manufacture rather than at sale. Excises are often associated with custom duties. Exactly. Okay, so how much does Australia tax beer? According to the Brewers Association of Australia, only 3 countries in the world have a higher beer excise than we do. Norway comes in at number 1, followed by Japan and then Finland. Yes, Norwegian beer, if I remember, was a bit expensive. I bought beer from the hotel and it was damn expensive. Than Japan and Finland. While the exact rate of taxation varies by product, prepackaged products like cans and bottles are more heavily taxed than kegs of draft beer, for example. Prepackaged products like cans and bottles are more heavily taxed than kegs of draft beer, for example. The Brewers Association says the excise per liter of alcohol ranged from 1.59 to 2.26. However, those figures come from 2020 data, and the excise has increased since then. In fact, Australia's beer tax rises twice every year as it is indexed to inflation. Every time inflation rises, so too does the excise. Australia's beer excise rises in line with inflation twice every year. Bianca Di Marchi, The Sun Herald. How much of the price of beer is made up of taxes? The excise is the only tax placed on beer in Australia. Like other products, the Goods and Services Tax, GST, Goods and Services Tax of 10%, also applies to alcoholic drinks. This is added to the cost after the excise has been applied. So they have a GST, man. The GST stands for Goods and Services Tax of 10%. As a result, almost half the price of beer is made up by taxes, 42% according to the Brewers Association. How much does the government make from taxing beer? In 2020-21, the Australian federal government received $2.5 billion in excise and customs duty on beer. However, this does not include the GST on the excise and beer sales, which in previous years the Brewers Association said added another rough 65% to the total figure. It said in 2018 to 19, taxes made the government $3.593 billion, $2.01 billion in excise, $201 million in GST on the excise, and then $1.3 billion in GST on retail beer sales. Uh-huh. Interesting. While Australians tend to pay more for beer than most other countries, we don't have the most expensive prices in the world. Walter Peters. How expensive is beer in Australia compared to the rest of the world? While there's no definitive ranking of beer prices by country, Australia does seem to have more expensive beer than average. Data from the World Bank's International Comparison Program from the past 5 years said the price of alcohol in Australia is 85% above average, good enough for 23rd most expensive in the world, while Finder in 2018 said the average cost of a pint down under was 6.5 US dollars, which was the 27th most expensive. More recently, the World Bank Index in 2021 ranked 58 countries by the price of their beers, but unfortunately, Australia wasn't included in that study. One country that was, though, is Qatar, which was found to have the priciest beers in the world. According to the study, the average price for a 330 millimeter bottle in the Gulf state was a whopping 11.26 US dollars, although it should be noted that under Qatar's interpretation of Islamic law, the sale of alcohol is heavily restricted. It is only available for purchase at licensed venues, and there is a permit system for expatriates living there who wish to buy alcoholic drinks. A permit system for expatriates. So they have excise tax and the GST on top of the excise. What else? Yeah, nothing else. Damn expensive for Australian beer. Why? You just mix. You make goofy.
It's the Queensland brew that burst onto the scene 35 years ago, but hasn't been available on tap since the early 2000s. Today, that all changed. Pouring the first pint of Power's new beer, the publican behind it all, Bernie Power.
That's a good drop.
It didn't go away. In fact, it was alive and well. It just needed someone, with the resources to resurrect it.
CUB bringing it back, but this ultra-smooth lager has a different taste to the 6% bitter of the 80s that backed the Brisbane Broncos with $1 million, the biggest sponsorship in the league's history at the time.
And after that, he said to me, well, John, geez, I hope your football team's going to be good. And I responded and said, Bernard, geez, I hope the beer tastes all right.
It did.
That's better.
So popular, it sold out on day one, with the Yatala Brewery becoming the largest in the country as it took on a David and Goliath battle with the likes of 4X Gold. But the production line couldn't keep up. Brewed for the last time in 2011. Now, long-time staff still have the company at their core and are vowing to bring Powers back.
There's a lot more beers in the market than there was back in the late 80s and the early 90s. But there's not a lot of beers out there that are perfect for the Queensland climate.
Very clean, very crisp. Sort of beer I like.
I wonder what that guy is. Yeah, that's it. Everybody, take care. Bye bye.